Welcome to an enlightening episode. A Muslim challenges GodLogic on why God would command the Israelites to kill an entire nation, including infants. Watch as GodLogic's thoughtful response makes the Muslim take back his words. Stay tuned for this powerful discussion.
Okay, what's your question, Ali?
I mean, you're so experienced in you've been to speaker's corner, you've probably heard like a billion arguments. So if I say something, you've probably heard it before. So I'm going to be more genuine with my questions. I want to see how you respond to them.
I hope you're genuine.
I think I am genuine. I mean, I know he's your friend, but I'd rather have a conversation with you than Sam. But anyways, so especially in 1 Samuel 15:3, I think you've heard that argument before, right? Where you would believe that Jesus is the God of the Old Testament, okay? Then why in 1 Samuel 15:3 is the all-merciful Jesus, according to you, commanding genocide of infants, babies, and
I don't believe he's all merciful.
Do you believe that it's okay to command genocide of babies?
I believe. Wait, hold on. Okay. I believe that God can give life and he can take away life as he wills. I also believe that God is just and he does things for a reason. Like, for example, the Amalekites who sinned against him and attacked Israel shortly after they escaped Egypt and tried to take advantage of the old and young. Then God sends his judgment out on Amalek and says that he's going to wipe them from the face of the earth. So because of their sin, he then casts his judgment on them, which is wiping them out. Is God wrong for casting his judgment on a nation that's sinful?
I mean, but surely these infants weren't responsible for that sin. I mean, would you say that they were?
But hold on. The verse. We'll get to the infants. You don't have to read it. We know what the verse says. I'm just asking a simple question. Do you have a problem? Do you have a problem? It's okay. It's okay. Do you have a problem with God casting out his judgment on an entire nation, children included?
No, I don't have a problem with that.
Then you don't have a problem with 1 Samuel 15:3.
Well, I think what it proves is that it is not God's judgment, because I think we'd agree to. Sorry?
You don't think that that's God's judgment? Why not? Why don't you think that you're saying that God, when he casts judgment on a nation, that he wouldn't, the children won't be involved in that?
He wouldn't command genocide by people to do that. I don't think so.
Of what?
He wouldn't command a genocide of people going to kill infants. I don't think he would.
Okay.
I mean, that's from my paradigm. I mean, maybe you believe that, and it's not a refutation.
Well, I just
want to clarify. It's not you could believe that, and you can be like, Christianity is true. God commanded this, right, and justify it. And this is not mainly a defeater of Christianity. It's not like, Christianity is false. I just want to see how you would reconcile with it, because if God came to, right, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So since you have a problem with this in my paradigm. So when God flooded the world, were children involved in that? Did children get drowned or what?
For us, it was not the world flooding. It was like a local flood.
Okay. So were there children who, when he flooded the nation, were there children that drowned?
Yeah, there were.
So it looks like even you believe that God wipes out a nation, including the infants, including the children. So if you're going to come against the Bible, when God casts his judgment on a nation, which includes the children, then you have to cast out Allah in the Quran. You have a problem with Allah in the Quran.
Do you see the distinction between God causing a natural event to wipe out a nation, whereas God commanding his servants to actually kill other individuals, especially to kill infants? You don't see the difference?
No, tell me the difference. I don't see any difference.
So if God takes the life of an infant versus you taking the life of an infant, you don't see any difference.
At whose command?
Still at God's command. But you are the agent actually slaughtering the infant. You think that's okay?
So who's the one responsible for the infant dying? Me or God?
I mean, if God is commanding it, I mean, it would be God, yeah, ultimately.
All right, so there's no difference. There's absolutely no difference. Whether he destroys a nation, including the children, with a natural disaster, or he sends an army to go and wipe out people. It's still him. It's by his hand that this happens.
I think that's a fair point. Yeah.
So, so now this is where the difference is, though, with Christianity and Islam with this. In Christianity, those children who die because of the nation's the wrath of God that happens upon a nation, the children, the infants who die in the process go back to God. They go to heaven straight away. But in Islam, that's not the case. Some may go to hell, some may go to heaven.
That's not true. For anyone who is an infant or prepubescent, then they're automatically granted Jannah. They're not responsible for their sins.
You want to know what? Aisha said the same thing. Aisha, Muhammad's wife, said the same thing. That a baby or a child who is prepubescent, hasn't even reached the age to sin, is a bird of paradise. You want to know who corrected her? Want to know who corrected her?
Tell me, give me the reference again.
Muhammad, man. Muhammad told his wife, he said, hold up, baby, slow down. Wait a minute. It might be otherwise. Because God created for paradise those who are to go to paradise. And he created them for paradise before they were in their father's loin. And he created for hell those who are to go to hell. He created them for hell before they were in their father's loins.
Can you give the reference for that, please?
Of course, Habibi. Of course, I got you.
Thank you.
Of course, man. Let's pull up the hadith. Aisha peradventure. Put that on the entire screen for us. See, Aisha had the same idea that you had, man. Look, watch this. So, Sahih Muslim 2662C. Aisha, the mother of the believers, said that Allah's messenger was called to lead the funeral prayer of a child of the Ansar. I said, so this is Aisha talking, Allah's messenger, there is happiness for this child, who is a bird from the birds of paradise. For it committed no sin, nor has he reached the age when one can commit sin. Said the same thing you said, right? Kids who are prepubescent, who are underage, obviously they're innocent, they haven't committed sin, nor are they old enough to commit sin. They go straight to heaven. That's what you said. She says the same thing. Now, he said, so Muhammad says, Aisha, peradventure, stop, hold your horses. It may be otherwise. Why? Because God created for paradise those who are fit for it while they were yet in their father's loins, and created for hell those who are to go to hell. He created them for hell while they were yet in their father's loins. So some babies who die have been predestined to go to hell. Some babies who die have been predestined to go to heaven. But in the Bible, all babies who die, all children who die before their knowledge of good and evil, they get to go and be with God immediately, automatically. Jesus says this. He says, the kingdom of God belongs to the children. That's what Jesus says. And in Deuteronomy, before they enter the promised land, God is punishing the Israelites who didn't believe. He says, you're not going to be able to enter the promised land. You're going to die out here. But he says, but your children who do not know good and evil yet, who are not at the age who know good and evil yet, they get to go into the promised land. It's automatic in the Bible that they get to go into paradise in the New Testament and the Old. But in Islam, some go to hell, some go to heaven. Now, do you think that that's okay?
I mean, no, I'll definitely have to look into that hadith. I've never seen it before, so I'm gonna do my research. I'll come back to you. But yeah, I've never heard this hadith before. Some hadiths I'm not saying this is inauthentic. It might be authentic. Who knows? Some hadiths in, for example, Sahih Bukhari, they're strong in their chain of narration, but they're weak in their wording. So maybe this was narrated in different wording. Maybe it is authentic, but I'll do my research on it.
Yeah, trust me, brother. It's authentic. Even the most argument of Muslim defenders acknowledge that this is authentic, man. There's no way around it. But I grant you said you never seen it before. You want to do your research. That's fair. That's humble, and that's honest. I love that. I'll ask you this last question on it, and I won't push anymore. We can go to your next question.
No worries.
But on this, would it be evil? Would it be wrong if God were to send babies to hell?
Would it be evil or wrong for God to send babies to hell?
Yes.
I mean, look, I'll give you like two answers. Like personally, like intuitively, like I would say yes, that's wrong, right? Like that's this thing. But like I would also say, for example, like God's judgment is absolute. Like God would command things that we cannot understand with our finite human knowledge, and you'd agree with the same. Like for example, when Abraham was commanded to slaughter his son, right? Like you would think that like any human being would say that's absolutely wrong, right? But like I think we're also limited in our ability to grasp some of God's wisdoms. But yeah, I would say short answer personally, yeah, I would think it would be wrong. So I'll do some more research on this hadith. And also the hadith is saying that like I'm granting you that based on what I'm reading right now, it is saying that it could be the case where a child is going to. It's not saying this specific child is going to the hellfire. So that's not.
That's true. It doesn't say this specific child is going to hellfire, but it's possible. But because he predestines.